Cancer. Welcome to your eclipse reading for April 2024. The eclipse is tomorrow. Are you excited? I'm excited. As a Cancer rising, this reading is for Cancer Sun and Cancer rising. Well. There we are. Up first, from the 9th of April till the 12th. Love is in the air. Why? Because Mars is conjunct Saturn in fellow water sign Pisces. What does that mean? Well, let's just look at these 4 cards here to begin with. I'm gonna, because of these like YouTube nudity, look, don't ask me. Okay. So right off the bat, we're talking about Mars conjunct Saturn in Pisces. This is about caliber. This is about meeting somebody who is obviously and actually worthy of you. And it happens in a situation that's very refined, Aquarius. You're traveling, you're in a museum, you're going to the theater, and suddenly there is somebody, and they are impressive. You're impressed by them. Okay? So, does this have to turn into something romantic? No. But they have a lot of potential. And it's nice for you because I think there may have been some doubts lately. You know, we've been thrust back into the world, but how's that luck going? Of course, we've been very tenacious around this eclipse because there are so many established patterns that make us sick to our stomach now. Some of them we've been living under for so long and we didn't know they were there. Talk about glass ceilings. And now that those barriers are washed away with the eclipse, excuse me, there is something liberating happening within us. We're very vocal about it. To the point where it almost scares us, and it definitely scares other people, but it also scares us. But I think what scares us most is how have we been able to tolerate this for so long? Why didn't we ever see it before? Why didn't we ever feel it or pick up on it? We're the ones who are supposed to know. We're the ones who are supposed to see it a mile away. Just goes to show you your issues, your trauma, your programming is generally hidden from you. It exists in that 12th house shadow realm where it has enormous control over you, and yet you have no access to it. And that's what makes tarot so compelling, Jungian tarot, at least what I do. So you have an opportunity to communicate with a part of the mind that only talks in pictures that you have no direct access to. And why don't you have direct access to it? Makes sense why you wouldn't. Because it is the control room that controls things like, or isn't responsible for controlling things like breathing, sleeping, making your heart beat, making your kidneys filter. Things that would be hazardous and disastrous to have under our conscious control. We are tapping into the part of ourselves that makes the shark keep swimming in circles when it's sleeping. And that part of you has thrown some really incredible symbols at you. Just look. You're ruled by the moon. We are ruled by the moon. Tomorrow this eclipse is the cutting of so many threads for us. And this is the first message your brain has thrown out at you. Your shadow. Queen of Cups, that's where you're at. Sure, we have our ups and downs like the tide. But overall, a sense of self-respect has been growing steadily, right? It has been a minute since someone thought to treat you bad or disrespect you, because you've been, for the most part, very careful and caring with yourself. Sure, you had your moments of going into a freeze state, but even in that freeze state, I feel like you've probably been kinder to yourself than you have in the past. There's an awareness that's developed within us that even when we're in the midst of doing something that hurts us, there is a voice that has begun to pop up and say, hey, don't do that. And for so many of us, the reason we don't have that voice to stop us internalize is because there was never one externally. Excuse me. And so this journey of reparenting ourselves that we've been on for years seems to have paid off, and slowly the fruits of this labor are emerging. So the self-destruction is low. Self-worth is high, even if it's costing us some comfort. We feel magnanimous, we feel abundant, we feel big energy. We feel strong. We feel like we have the right, because you're not going to play with me like this. And what that energy attracts is really beautiful. It's impressive. You're both impressed with each other. It doesn't have to be a romance. It can be a friendship. It can be a business partnership. Someone that you just, boom, run smack dab into in a really cool place. So what I would suggest, especially if you'll be traveling on one of those days, I will be, from the 4th to the 15th, I would say. No, from the 9th, my bad, from the day after the eclipse until the 15th of April. Just do that extra something. Even if that extra something is getting an extra hour of sleep. Do something for yourself that makes you glow, that makes you feel good. Nothing that seems like a hassle, nothing that feels like it's being imposed on you. Do things that come from joy and bring you joy. Keep yourself in high spirits, and high energy. And your high spirits and your high energy and all the mountains that you've traversed recently, they create a really special energy, right? 1 second, I'll be right back.
Hi, I'm back. Damn, this eclipse tomorrow's gonna be serious, huh? Whew. Alright, let's continue. So, caliber, worth, these are all... Worth is something, that we've been tackling for a while. Reparenting is another. I think what makes this time so special for us, just in terms of the cards that are out on the table right now, is that this period of time between the 15th and the 26th, again, perfected on the 20th, it can make our fantasies, our virtuals, our, gosh, I can't believe that didn't work out, materialize. Now, when it comes to you, you're going to have to decide. Do you still want it? Does it match up with what the eclipse has told you about yourself? Or are there secrets here that you already know? That's the funny thing. Anyone trying to keep secrets is like from a Cancer? Jeez Louise. If somebody who is worthy of you comes into your life, don't mess that up just because it's new for someone later in the month that you thought was a, was a fantasy, oh, that's the best it could ever be. Don't let them disrupt that. However, there are chances that this is the same person. Because this eclipse has a profound effect on all of us. We are coming out of a period where we desperately need love, community, friendship, more than anything. We have to keep our positivity, our composure, so as not to fall into an abyss. Wouldn't do now to behave that way when we're finally out of the pits, But like the I Ching says, when you've traversed a great height, the natural tendency is to look back at where you've come from. Perhaps to make an assessment of your skill, perhaps to boast or gloat, perhaps to just pat yourself on the back. But beware. Because just having climbed that height, persevered through that loneliness, just because you've done it doesn't mean that you're out of the woods. Whatever you have climbed away from, it is still behind you. And looking back and getting comfortable and already evaluating where you're at, it's just not done in the middle of a journey. It's the easiest way to fall back, fall behind. So to me, what that means is, regardless of if it's a new person or somebody that comes back, there is no difference in the way they're judged. Your standards they've transcended what you used to think love was. For a little while, love was attention, then loyalty, affirmation. This new era for us is about someone we can be deeply proud of. Someone who impresses us and someone who is impressed by us. Now, if the other person trying to come back into your life fits that criteria as well, great. But don't look back. Don't fall back. It's too easy. Feels like you never will. No, I'm done with all that. That road is slipperier than you think. More slippery? Is slipperier a word? I don't know. Now, all this stuff going on in Aries, this is in your 10th house. In our 10th house. Work, career. There is something, just one thing, that you have put down, and if you would just pick it up, if you would just do it, most of what is troubling you, it wouldn't be an issue. But you have robbed yourself of your power with this procrastination, this fear, in front of this one thing that you know you can do.
I just have to sit down and do it. You feel deeply that perhaps you're not strong enough or don't have enough power to do this. It's deep. Nowhere near the surface at all. People would never guess. Now you have a chance with all this activity and this eclipse tomorrow in that 10th house. Now you have a chance. You can reverse this. You can reclaim your power, your fire. It's a lot of fire. Even perhaps plant the right kind of seeds and feed your ego. I think we need it. And there's no need to be regretful. For whatever reason, it needed to happen now. I'm of the mind that whatever your project is, whatever that thing is that you know you can do but you put it down, I feel like you didn't have all the pieces yet. Again, we're ruled by the moon. Something is brewing in us. Sometimes it feels like we're the only cardinal sign that nobody takes seriously. And yet, truth be told, most people are afraid of us. But do you see that disconnect there? It's much like this disconnect here. You have within you all that it takes to get this work done, but you were missing a piece, something you didn't know yet. If I were to guess, I would say it's something about yourself. A lot of times we don't even know who we are until something happens and we watch ourselves react. And we think, whoa, I didn't think I was strong enough to do that. How am I doing this? We have all these preconceived notions about our own fragility. And then things happen and everyone is shocked and we are pleasantly surprised. Look at this endeavor in the same way. You're standing on the edge, career-wise, of something really big, something important. This eclipse is happening in that part of your chart because you just can't be afraid to take a new direction right now. And that new direction will come as many new opportunities, far-reaching, international in some cases. Be open to it. Ways of making money that you never considered. All just sort of start piling up after the 20th. Whatever the thing is, start. Write a line. You know, if you can't write a page, write a line. If you can't make a lesson plan yet, just do the yoga yourself for now. But start. You know, take the easel out, even if you're not ready to paint. Start. And realize that the only thing that's ever kept you from starting is how you felt about yourself. That's why when you have gotten something creative done, it's been so satisfying. Because it's liberation from this programming. And then we run straight into the money, huh? Don't you just love it? What's the only thing keeping you back from all this? A dad you can't respect, a mom that's too in your shit, your ego getting kicked around all the time. There's a million ways to look at this. But what it comes down to is your programming. An inability to sustain belief and confidence in yourself long enough to get it done. You have to fight your own childhood and the pain that it's caused you. But once you do, all this energy comes back, and sandwiched between it beautifully is your ticket out of all of this nonsense. All the way to the top. A voice. And how do you get there? Faith. I guess we don't realize when we're young that when they take our faith in ourselves, they also rob us of a deeper faith. Right? But that's okay. Because as you continue this journey, as you start the thing, that part of you that feels stuck, bored, not evolving, it wakes up. That part of you also may have a lot of muck to go through because it's been asleep for a while. That's okay. Let it take its time. But give it space to fill up. Make this thing a priority. Make it important. Don't put it off because, I mean, not to be that guy, but there's just so much money in it. That for a little while you're going to have to go on faith. And I know that's really scary. Speaking of scary, let's look deeper into the eclipse and reshuffle and look at Taurus season in the extended. Yes? I love you. I'll see you in a second.